Hello, it is Krystalracquel and I am back again with another video. I hope you're all doing well. Make sure you like if you're interested in the video. That lets me know the themes that are helping you, or you can always message me in my email that I have listed in the description section. The topic of this video, today I want to talk about relationships and how you should be wary of advice that you accept and apply to your relationship, and just to keep others out of your relationship and any issues you may be having with your partner, whether that is your boyfriend. I've discussed before, I don't really believe in that title, but or whether it's your fiance or your husband. So let's focus on that. The main reason why I want to bring this up is, you know, the dynamics of your relationship. And yes, of course, there are outsiders who have wisdom and they can look at your relationship. And if you talk to them about certain topics, they'll be able to assist you or provide guidance, wisdom, depending on things that they've been through. Oftentimes they can then apply it. However, you really need to be able to learn how to work through issues on your own. There are relationship books available. There's therapy available. There are relationship coaches. There is the Bible that's available to you in terms of how to treat others. And if you, you know, maybe even a pastor, if something gets serious or you need some support, or if you have a relationship with individuals in the church, not saying like friends and just people that you say hi and bye to, but if there's maybe an older woman who has a lot of wisdom, they may be able to help you. It's very important not to have people in and out of your relationship. You never know where that other person is coming from. It's so important to make sure you're praying about your relationship, especially if you're in a marriage. And you want to just make sure that you're not just gossiping about your relationship or about your partner and what you're going through. Sometimes people want to vent, but you really have to be mindful of what you're sharing and what you're putting out into the atmosphere. And oftentimes when people start sharing things about what they're going through, what they've experienced in their relationship, or if they're like having trouble in a certain area, a lot of times that person or you're just going to share from your perspective, or where the other person that you're speaking to is never going to get the perspective of the other person, because obviously they're not in that conversation. So that makes it tricky as well. And a lot of people, when they're talking about an issue, they like to paint themselves in a better light than the other person. Or they'll give a lot of background details to try to pump themselves up, and then they'll share maybe like one thing that they did incorrectly, but everything else is incorrect about what someone else did. So oftentimes when I hear an issue, my first thing is, really, I wonder why that occurred. Let's say someone's complaining about a certain thing that their significant other or spouse does that they don't like, or that they reacted in a certain way. And let's say they're saying, hey, they really don't like that their partner constantly does something, whatever it may be. And you have to ask yourself, okay, that's interesting. When did this start? When did this behavior start? Okay, how did that come to be? And then as you ask questions, you kind of see the real root of the issue. And sometimes it's not even that person that they're complaining about. Or, someone's bad behavior is never your fault. Just like even for your partner, if you're behaving badly towards them, that is not his fault. However, sometimes people accept behaviors, or they accept things up until a certain point, and then they all of a sudden want to change that behavior, or they're inconsistent in their behavior. That can even go to raising children, right? We all know the scenario of a mom in a grocery store and her child flailing around, screaming, crying, and the parent not really doing much about it. And then later on, I'm assuming when they become a teenager, all those behaviors have progressed. And now that child or that teen is cussing out their parent because their parent never really corrected any of their baby behaviors from when they were a toddler or 1 years old or whatever it is. You have to start correcting your children from they're young. You don't let them get away with every little thing while they're a kid because you think it's cute, because yeah, that child is small right now, but just imagine that behavior multiplied by 10 when they become a teen. Not so good, right? Not so cute. So, but yeah, my point in saying all this is that a lot of times when you're telling your story, it's not even going to be fully accurate. Sometimes people are just talking just to talk. One, they don't really want to resolve the issue, or they just, like I said, they just want to vent to someone. And honestly, sometimes they're just putting negative things into their relationship for no reason. So they could be telling someone to vent. That person can go tell someone else and say, you know what, so such and such is going through. And they may not even have any intention to help. So you want to be just careful. Another thing is you never really know where someone is coming from in terms of the advice that they give. Sometimes people are giving negative advice intentionally, maybe based on their own experiences. Well, that's two different things, right? Well, one, people give advice from their own perspective. So forget the jealousy thing for a second. Your own experiences shape you. It's very important for you to look outside of those experiences to determine what is correct, what is right and wrong. It's difficult for people to do that sometimes. Oftentimes, when things are being addressed, people will look at it from their own perspective and not necessarily what is correct. For instance, if there is someone who has had 5 children, they've never been married, and they're well, I'll just talk from the woman's perspective. They have 5 children and 4 different fathers for those children. They're very happy that they had children. It's a blessing to have kids. A lot of people want to have children. But if they were to now tell a young woman who's 18 that, yeah, it was great, I'm happy that I did that, I've never been, or my children, they weren't from a marriage, I've always wanted to be married, hope one day I'll get married, but that's no problem, I think it's great I was able to have those children, I got them out the way, I had them between 15 and 20, those were great years, my body was able to bounce back. That's bad advice, to make it seem like it's a good thing that they had children with multiple different men. So my point in saying that is absolutely, of course, you can, any trials and tribulations that have gone on in your life, we don't know why that happened. Maybe, based on what that woman saw in their past, maybe their upbringing caused them to, end up in multiple relationships after the other with different men who potentially ended up leaving them. And of course, they can overcome that and they can make changes and they can move forward. And yes, God can send that lady a husband who's going to love her and also help her and take care of her children. But my point is, now, like I said, as if that woman goes and now gives terrible advice, one, it may just be from her own experience. So people don't want to look bad or feel bad about their behavior. And I'm not specifically shining light on individuals who have children with 3-4 men. My point is, if most people look at that and in life and think, okay, that's not the best. When people are young, that's not their goal. When you're 12, your goal is not to one day be in that position. For most people, I would assume. So sometimes people don't want to think of themselves in a negative way. So rather than acknowledging that maybe, hey, that wasn't the ideal, I wish things had gone differently for me. I wish I, made better decisions, or I wish I knew better than then. Rather than saying those things because they don't want to look poorly in someone's eyes. And once again, I'm not just talking about this scenario. This was just the first one that came to my mind. they'll give bad advice in terms of recommending something that they know wasn't really the best. So you have to be mindful of that. But what I always try to do, and what I encourage you all to do, is if someone does come to you for advice, just make sure that you're not giving advice solely based on your own experience, or what you did, I should say. Make decisions or give advice based on what you know is right, what you wish you would have done. Don't just say something, oh, this is what I did, so I'm going to recommend that. Think to yourself, had you not done what you did, what would you have done? That's a good way to think about it, right? Had you not gone through what you went through, what do you think would have been the best decision? So anyone who's seeking advice about their relationships, be really mindful about who you're accepting information from, because a lot of people aren't using wisdom, so you just want to be careful about what you're accepting into your mind, into your spirit, into your heart. And then the one thing that I stopped talking about and want to go back to is about the jealousy. There are people who will try to convince you to do things because they're in a negative space. I know I just mentioned that people don't want to feel bad about their decisions, but this is a different thing to look at. This is based on anger about their decisions, or based on being jealous of your position. I read somewhere in a group where someone was celebrating a birthday, and they had a friend who was this scenario just keeps coming to my mind. So, just take it with a grain of salt, but this is an easy scenario to think about. And I'm gonna do another video about this topic, about our decisions. But in this group, what happened was, so at this birthday dinner, this young lady, I think she had a very close friend. I don't know if it was her best friend, but it could have been a very close friend, possibly best friend. And this person was at her birthday, and at the birthday, this friend confessed to her and said, you're so lucky that I'm so jealous that you don't have any children. And then that friend sat and thought about it, and recalled that in the past, I think several times, the sorry, my husband's coming home. But several times this individual had recommended that they have kids. They told them that, you need to just go ahead and just go find somebody to have kids with. Just go ahead and have children. You need to hurry and go have kids. So I think this person had 2 or 3 kids, and they were encouraging them to go and essentially become a single mother. But afterwards, what they actually ended up telling them at their birthday party, at the person who didn't have any children's birthday party, was, oh, I've always been so jealous of you because you don't have kids. So just really be careful. That sounded like an innocent comment, but it wasn't. That person was acting out of jealousy when they were giving them advice. They were encouraging them to do things that were bad. They wanted them to be on the same level. They felt like they were in a better position because they hadn't had children yet, and maybe they weren't struggling with a deadbeat or someone who wasn't interested in seeing the children, so they wanted to lower her to that position. So just really be mindful, and you really have to learn conflict resolution in your relationship. So you don't need to go running to your parents about any issues that you're having with your boyfriend. You don't need to be running to all your friends saying that your boyfriend forgot your birthday, or telling people you're having I think people do this sometimes, like talk about at work, like about what they do in the bedroom with their husbands. And yeah, you just don't, it's just one that's foolish, and that's, in my opinion, inappropriate. But you don't know where that person is. Maybe they're having trouble in that area in their relationship. Well, the husband, I should say, their spouse. And then now you're letting them think about things that you're doing in your relationship. So just really be mindful. You never know where people are coming from. Only God knows what's really in someone's heart. You will be so surprised what's really in someone's heart and mind when they're talking about you, giving you advice. And I'm not someone who likes to tell you people are jealous a lot. I really don't, but sometimes it's better to just be safe than sorry. Work on conflict resolution within your relationship, or seek professional help, whether it's through life coaching or whether it's through therapy. Maybe people who don't know you closely, so they're not going to just automatically be on your side, or they're not going to be gossiping about you. It's good to maybe go to somebody who you think has wisdom but maybe doesn't really know you well, so it's not going to take sides. They're not going to give favor to you or your spouse. So just really be careful about that. And that is just so important for us to be aware of, because it's very easy to sometimes just want to talk about things that you're going through, but it's best to really think in your brain what you should do. Maybe do some research about people who have had similar scenarios, or read the Bible, talk to your partner about it. If or let it cool off for a moment, or once again just seek professional help. I just wanted to stop in and give you that tidbit based on what I've been seeing, and please feel free to let me know if you have any other topics below. I'd love to speak on them. But just be careful, learn through conflict resolution, and please seek help from a professional or talk to your partner. Also pray. Do not just spread your business around. You can be friends with someone today and then you're on bad terms with them tomorrow. So be mindful of sharing all your business, putting it out there, because there's some people who really want to see your downfall. Actually, before I go, one more topic. One of my pastors, I'll say, he had shared some information with one of the I don't know if it's called understudy or one of the other pastors. So basically this pastor owns the church and there's other pastors underneath him, and he had shared information with him about an engagement that he had. And those things are very serious if you're a pastor, and I don't think the congregation knew about it, but at one point this other pastor became jealous of him and started trying to tell everybody that this man is not really even a man of God. He's really engaged, or he was engaged, and it's just a lot of stuff. And then that's something that original pastor shared with him in confidence, just someone he felt close to, someone he respected as well. And then now, because this person's angry and he's trying to reveal all his deepest dark secrets, even though it wasn't, in my opinion, anything serious, but something that the pastor probably didn't want to share, probably wasn't sure if things were going to work out, or just wanted to hold that safe to his heart and protect that relationship. But anyway, just want to say, be mindful. Even the people who you think are for you or are godly and Christian, or even family members, they might not even be for you. So just be careful, always be in prayer, and be very selective about the information that you share. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.